Okay, so my topic is why you should encourage vaccination in yourself and others. So first, let's talk about the different types of vaccines. The first one is attenuated vaccines. Those are otherwise known as live vaccines. They fight viruses specifically, and they contain a small amount of the weakened virus. The virus is still alive, but it's weakened. There's also inactivated vaccines, which also fights viruses, but in the process of making the vaccine, it kills the virus, so you're getting remnants of the virus instead of actual live parts of it. These are just the 5 main vaccines. There's a whole bunch of different subcategories, but we won't cover that. Toxoid vaccines is the next one. It prevents diseases caused by toxin-producing bacteria. So as bacteria are metabolizing in the body, they produce toxins that can cause the disease. And this vaccine uses weakened versions of those toxins, just about like the live vaccines, to help the immune system. Subunit vaccines consist of only the part of virus or bacteria. They just consist of one part of it or subunit, so that the body can recognize it and fight it quicker and easier. And then conjugate vaccines fight back. There's a certain type of bacteria that has a sugar-like membrane around it, and these vaccines are made to help the body fight those membranes, because the regular immune system won't go through the membranes, which won't allow it to fight the virus or the bacteria. So how they work a little bit. So they basically imitate the infection. Like, you get vaccinated for mumps or measles, all of that. It imitates that disease or infection, and this helps the body build an immune system to it, because when the body recognizes one of these cells, it starts producing antibodies and T lymphocytes. Antibodies are otherwise known as immunoglobulin cells. They are Y-shaped cells that are used in the immune system to neutralize pathogens, so they just fight disease, basically. And T lymphocytes are a type of white blood cell that helps the body mediate between healthy cells that it can accept and bad bacteria, viruses that it needs to rid itself of. So the imitation infection leaves the body with healthy T lymphocytes and antibodies to fight against that cell. And to form these antibodies and lymphocytes, it takes about 3 to 4 weeks to have a full effect. You hear a lot of people say that, we get the shot and then right after that I had the virus or bacteria. Well, you cannot blame that. In my opinion, you cannot blame that all on the vaccine, because it has 3 to 4 weeks. You could have caught it in that period. That's a long span. You have a lot of different contact with other people that could be carrying the virus. So there are many different reasons why you should get vaccinated. Point blank, they could save your life. The CDC, the Centers for Disease Control, predicts that in the last decade, vaccines have saved over 322 million people from deadly viruses and bacteria. People say that they're not tested fully or aren't covered. There's no real backing to prove it, but there are many different stages. The exploratory stage is the beginning of the testing, and that's just scientists in a lab trying to figure out what breaks down a bacteria or the virus to kill it. The preclinical stage, which is making it making the vaccine able to go into the human body and function in the human body. In the clinical stage, which there's 3 subunits to that, you take the vaccine and give it to a select group of people. Then you take the next stages, you give it to a wider variety, but still under the select. So in the select people, they look for health and fitness and age, everything that would fit good in there. And then the next stage, they give it to thousands of people, and they closely monitor and watch reactions to that. Then there's the next part of testing is regulatory review and approval. So a board of who knows how many different doctors and scientists sit down and look at the results from the clinical trials and say, yes, we approve of this, yes, we don't, and they set certain mandates on it according to the reviews. Then it goes into manufacturing, being made, and quality control after it's out in the economy and the medical world. So quality control, there's people testing it constantly and watching results to make sure it's staying safe. Getting yourself vaccinated can also help those around you. The one person that stands out and doesn't get vaccinated has all the more potential to carry a virus or bacteria and can affect everybody around them, depending on their vaccination records and their immune system. Another big thing is it can save you money, because if you don't get vaccinated and you go by the natural immune system technique and you end up with one of the diseases, I got a statistic from the CDC that getting diphtheria, which is a vaccine preventable disease, to be hospitalized for that can cost at a minimum of $10,000. That's bare minimum. You're probably looking at 3 days in the hospital with all your medications and all that stuff, $10,000 minimum. So it can save you a lot of money. You can get a $30 shot and save thousands and thousands of dollars. So this is a chart that I've found I'm sorry, it's hard to read looking at it up here. It just shows different. So measles, it shows in the 20th century there was about 500,000 cases. In 2006 there were 55. That's a 99.9% decrease in that. Diphtheria, which we just looked at, about 175,000 cases. 0 cases in 2006, 100% increase. And this just goes through the different vaccine preventable. I won't walk through every single one of them, but as you can see, there's crazy results. There's not any result below 89% decrease. So that's a lot of aid in there. So natural immunity can lead to serious infections and hospitalization, like we looked at. These people are more likely to acquire the actual disease because they haven't ever seen it before. Like vaccines introduce it to the body, help you get used to it. And a lot of people, vaccines have side effects. Well, so does every single pill that you take have side effects. There's going to be stuff that you see that has side effects. And vaccines, obviously, according to the last graph we looked at, they prevent more diseases than anything else we have. So they're obviously effective. So my works cited the different websites I looked at. We have the CDC, I forget what, doesn't have zero, but anyway, National Institute of Health, common questions about vaccines, and our high school anatomy class here in this classroom, actually. This is where I got all the information. So basically, get vaccinated. It's a smart thing to do. Are there any questions?